7 Best Graphic Cards for Gaming in 2022. If you are looking for the best graphic cards for gaming, then you are at right place there. Watch this video till end and subscribe to the channel. We have also put links of products in the description. Make sure you have viewed it once. Let's start the video. Number 1. GeForce RTX 3080. NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3080 sports NVIDIA's latest Ampere architecture. It's over 30% faster than the previous Gen 2080 Ti, and supposedly costs $500 less. When we tested the new RTX 3080 Ti, it didn't manage to supplant the incumbent, thanks to its significantly higher pricing. However, do keep an eye out for the RTX 3080 12GB cards, which at present seems to carry about a $50 price premium, a premium well worth paying in our book. If you're serious about maxing out all the graphic settings and you want to play at 4K or 1440, this is the card to get. It's mostly overkill for 1080 gaming, unless you're running the latest ray tracing games, in which case DLSS support should also help performance. If you skip the first round of RTX GPU, the RTX 30 series might finally get you on board the ray tracing train, with potentially double the ray tracing performance of Turing. The RTX 3080 is your best bet at playing games in all the ray trace glory without nuking the piggy bank. Ampere also brings improved tensor cores for DLSS, a technology that continues to proliferate among recent game releases. NVIDIA's RT and DLSS performance are also quite a bit faster than what you get from AMD new RX 6000 cards, which is a good thing as NVIDIA sometimes falls behind in traditional rasterization performance. AMD offers the universal FSR 2.0 as an alternative to DLSS, but so far it's only in a handful of games. Number 2. Radeon RX 6800 XT. AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT is the best card for Team Red. The RX 6800 XT provides a massive boost in performance and features relative to the previous generation RX 5700 XT, as well as adding ray tracing support via DirectX ray tracing or Vulkan RT. In our testing, the RX Radeon 6900 XT is technically about 5-7% faster, but it theoretically costs 54% more. That's not a great deal, especially since you don't get more VRAM or any other extras. Do pay attention to the current online prices, however, as the 6900 only costs about $100 extra and might be worth the spend right now. The Navi 21 GPU was affectionately dubbed Big Navi prior to launch by the enthusiast community, and we got exactly what we wanted. It's over twice the size of the previous generation Navi 10, with twice the shader cores and twice the RAM. Clock speeds are also boosted into the 2.1–2.4 GHz range, depending on the card model. And AMD did all this without substantially increasing power requirements. The RX 6800 XT has a 300 WTBP, slightly lower than the RTX 3080's 320 WTBP. A big part of AMD performance comes thanks to the massive 128 MB Infinity Cache. It improves the effective bandwidth by 119%, according to AMD. We're confident that few, if any, games in the coming years are going to need more than 16 GB. So the 6800 XT is in a great position in that area. What's not to like? The ray tracing performance is mediocre, and that's without turning on DLSS, which even in quality mode can improve performance of RTX cards by 20–40%, sometimes more. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution can help, but it's not as widely used and doesn't match the quality of DLSS. FSR 2.0 helps to change that, but only 3 games using the tech are currently out. Number 3. GeForce RTX 3090 Ti. For some, the best graphics card is the fastest card. Pricing be damned. NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 3090 Ti caters to this category of user. At more than double the official starting price of the RTX 3080, performance is only moderately better, 20–30% in most workloads. It's also only 5–10% faster than the previous RTX 3090, with an even higher MSRP. But looking at online prices, the 3090 Ti may only cost a couple hundred more than a 3090, and who are we kidding? Anyone seriously considering either of these probably doesn't need to worry about a few Benjamins. The RTX 3090 Ti will reign as NVIDIA's top GPU until the next generation NVIDIA Ada Lovelace GPU arrive. It sports a complete GA102 chip with 84 SM, so there's no room or time for a new Titan card. NVIDIA has said as much as well, that the 3090 Ti brings Titan-class performance and features, specifically the 24GB VRAM into the GeForce brand. It's not just about gaming, of course. The RTX 3090 Ti has NVLink support, which is arguably more useful for professional apps and GPU compute than SLI. The 24GB of GDDR6X memory is also helpful in a variety of content creation applications. Just watch out for lower than expected performance in some of the SBC Viewper apps, where the Titan RTX has additional features turned on in its drivers that aren't enabled for GeForce cards. You'll need the even more expensive NVIDIA RTX 86000 for the full professional driver suite. Number 4. Radeon RX 6700 XT. Start with the Navi 21 GPU and then cut down the various functional units to create a smaller die that can sell at lower prices, and you have AMD Navi 22 and the RX 6700 XT. The RX 6750 XT is basically the same GPU, with a slight boost to clock speeds, memory speeds, and power consumption about 5% faster overall, but with a 10% price hike. The 6700 XT has the same number of GPU cores as the previous generation RX 5700 XT, but significantly higher clock speeds and more cache, give it about a 25% boost to performance at higher settings and resolutions, at least. When we tested AMD RX 6700 XT, it hit clock speeds in excess of 2.5 GHz during gaming sessions, and that's at stock. On the reference card, with some tuning and overclocking, we were able to hit speeds of 2.7–2.8 GHz, still without cooking the GPU. That's very impressive, and factory overclock cards can push even higher clocks, though they also cost more. In our performance testing, the RX 6700 XT traded blows with the RTX 3070 and RTX 3060 Ti. It's a bit faster than the latter, and a bit slower than the former, so the going price of around $480 is reasonable. This card has moved up in our overall rankings thanks to its excellent online prices. It's currently available at prices starting just below the official MSRP, and it costs about $50 less than the cheapest RTX 3060 Ti while delivering comparable performance. Keep an eye on the newer RX 6750 XT as well, as it could end up being a better option if prices continue to drop. Number 5. GeForce RTX 3060. As we approach the lowest end of the price and performance ladder with NVIDIA's desktop Ampere lineup, the cuts to processing power may have gone too far. With 26% fewer GPU cores compared to the 3060 Ti and less memory bandwidth, overall performance is only on the level of the RTX 2070. So, 2.5 years later, you can now match a $500 graphics card with a $330 alternative. Unfortunately, demand still surpasses supply, and the cheapest RTX 3060 cards typically go for around $400. Still, given the performance we saw in our testing, the RTX 3060 delivers a great overall value, factoring in ray tracing and DLSS performance. VRAM capacity isn't a problem, and there are a few instances where the 3060 starts to close the gap with the 3060 Ti. It never quite gets there, however, and the 3060 Ti may be the better choice if you can find one at a reasonable price. At present, it's a $125 jump to the 3060 Ti, making this or one of AMD offerings a much better value. Number 6. Radeon RX 6600 XT. AMD answered to the RTX 3060, sort of, comes via the Navi 23 architecture. Normally, we'd expect a 32 CU variant of Navi 22, dubbed the RX 6700 non-XT, but AMD trimmed CU counts, memory interface width, and infinity cache sizes to get a smaller and less expensive chip that still performs well. Note that the Radeon RX 6700 now apparently exists, with 10GB of VRAM. Performance ends up slightly above the previous Gen RX 5700 XT, which is impressive considering the memory bus has been cut in half to just 128 bits. Still, it's surprising how much even a 32MB infinity cache seems to boost performance when you look at the memory bandwidth. This is basically a chip that's smaller than Navi 10, built on the same TSMC N7 node, and it delivers 10–15% better frame rates at 1080p. There are instances where it struggles, however, ray tracing being a big one. Several games that we tested with DXR DirectX ray tracing support could even do 20 FPS at 1080p. NVIDIA's RTX 3060 was about twice as fast, without using DLSS, and typically over 50% faster with DLSS quality mode. FSR doesn't really fix that either, since it provides a similar boost in performance to both AMD and NVIDIA and even Intel GPU, after delivering impressive amounts of VRAM on the other big Navi chips. The RX 6600 XT feels like a letdown. Number 7. GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. When we tested the GeForce RTX 3060 Ti, we felt it might be the best of the bunch for NVIDIA's Ampere GPU. It has all the same features as the other 30 series GPU, with a starting price of just $399. In theory, of course, as it naturally sold out just as quickly as all the other new graphics cards. Things have improved, however, and the lowest price we can find right now is down to around $525, which is still $125 more than MSRP. The 3060 Ti beat the previous Gen 2080 Super in our testing, winning in every game we ran. It's also only about 9% slower than the RTX 3070 but costs 20% less. If you're still sitting on an older GTX 1070 or RX Vega 56, the 3060 Ti is up to twice as fast, sometimes even more, in the latest games. That was all from Creative Picks about best graphic cards for gaming in this video. The links of products are given in the description, which are updated for best prices. We will meet in next video. Till then, be careful and goodbye.